All right, welcome back to The Hill here on NewsNation. Donald Trump's attorneys are taking a pretty unusual step. They are asking for a meeting with the Attorney General Merrick Garland. In their letter asking for that sit down, the attorneys say they want to discuss what they call, quote, the ongoing injustice by the special counsel. They add, quote, no president in the history of the United States has ever been baselessly investigated in such an outrageous and unlawful fashion. Joining us live now to discuss this and other legal issues surrounding the former president is the former Justice Department spokesman for the Biden administration, Anthony Coley. Anthony, thanks for joining us on this. Appreciate it. You know Merrick Garland as well as anyone. You worked with him. You were by his side. You expect him to take that meeting? You think he sits down with Donald Trump and his attorneys?
So the best thing, the short answer is no. The best thing the best predictor of what Merrick Garland will do or say is to look at what he has done and said on the issue before us and similar issues. The fact of the matter is, in November of last year, when he made this appointment, he did so because, in his words, the extraordinary circumstances demanded it. And he did this to ensure that any fair-minded American, this being appointing the special counsel, any fair-minded American will say that whatever Jack Smith finds is indisputably guided by the facts and the law.
I hear you, James, but I hear you, and what you're saying makes sense, but you know how this works. If Donald Trump's attorneys don't get that meeting, we are likely to hear Donald Trump, or see it, or figuratively pound the table and say, why didn't I get it? It's the witch hunt.
So the special counsel is not subject to the day-to-day supervision of any person at the department. And so it would not be appropriate for Merrick Garland to do this meeting. What I saw in this letter is not a real legal document. I saw a political messaging document. If it were a real legal document, it would have been addressed to Jack Smith. I think what Donald Trump was trying to do is to communicate to his supporters that he is a victim. And the facts just don't bear that out. The fact of the matter is that every single legal issue that Donald Trump is faced with, it is of his own making right now.
Anthony, it's Niall Stanage here from The Hill. If I could just jump in on that point. I take your point about political messaging and so forth, but I'm really fascinated by the decision to send this letter in the first place. Do you think that is indicative of indictments being imminent?
So you'll find myself, this is the first time I've ever quoted Ty Cobb on television, but
Attorney or the baseball player?
The former president's lawyer, as well as independent legal scholars, they all view what I think is imminent, which is that based on public information, I would not be surprised if Donald Trump is indicted by this U.S. Department of Justice for obstruction in this documents case.
So, Anthony, I want to ask, how difficult is this for the Department of Justice to move forward with this indictment? As we've all said, and everyone has said over and over again, how unprecedented this is. Do they understand what sort of precedent they could be creating?
So a couple things on that point. This would not be the first time that a sitting head of state has been prosecuted in major democracies. We've seen it in South Korea. We've seen it in Israel and other places. The other thing is, the Attorney General himself spoke to this very question. Last year, he did an interview on NBC Nightly News. Lester Holt pressed him on this, and he said in some version, I may not get the verbiage exactly right, that his sole purpose as Attorney General is to follow the facts and the law. And with regard to this case, he reassured the American people that he was committed to holding anyone and everyone accountable who may have been responsible for the events that caused the attacks on the Capitol.
Anthony, the Wall Street Journal is reporting that the special counsel has, quote, all but finished obtaining testimony and other evidence in the criminal investigation into Donald Trump. And I know you think, you just said that you expect some sort of an indictment to come at some point. But does it sound like to you that this is wrapping up pretty quick?
So based on public information, I think we are much closer to the end than the beginning.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.